There are vague memories of falling asleep inside of a machine. Waking up, being led somewhere. Everything is still hazy. How are you feeling, Peter?
A bit foggy, but I'm fine.
And how are your urges?
My what?
The smoking. Are you feeling the urge for a morning smoke?
I guess not. My head is still a bit...
And Peter looks across the room. He cannot believe his eyes. He is speaking to Magnus Nilsson, former heavyweight MMA champion, turned genius scientist, inventor of the personality machine.
I'm sorry, I just woke up and I can't believe I'm speaking to the Magnus Nilsson. I saw your fights, they were wild.
An awkward silence.
Oh, I shouldn't be saying that, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's just fine, quite a normal reaction, really. Well, the smoking habit seems to have been curbed for now, and we are already seeing signs of traits coming through.
Traits?
And Magnus slides a piece of paper towards Peter. Yes, as you picked in your chart. You selected smoking as your main vice to be removed. Normally, we would look at a 57% success rate, but if you already feel...
That's not what I picked.
An awkward silence. What are you saying?
I only wanted smoking gone. I didn't pick any of this. This is not what I picked, and this is a lot of money. This is a lot of paychecks. I can't afford this.
And suddenly something catches his eye.
This isn't even my name.
Magnus grabs the paper. Peter Larsson with an E.
Larsson with an O.
I see. Magnus is quite visibly upset, and he eyes Peter carefully. I personally oversee each procedure. I meet with each client, and I take on each case with personal care. And I had not anticipated a simple mistake like this. It would seem by chance we have two Peters, Peter Larsson and a Peter Larsson, both with the intent of quitting smoking, and one with additional traits. And Peter is sitting completely still. Part of him wants to scream at the top of his lungs, normally a much more ordinary reaction. But something has overcome him. Calming thought patterns. It's true. He is able to rationalize his own thoughts in order to calm himself down. It's coming naturally to him. It would seem we have mistakenly placed traits on you, and undoing it is a procedure we could pursue. Either way, I'm willing to cover the cost of a previous procedure, and we can discuss how to proceed next. However, Peter, these are not bad traits. If you wish to, we could avoid wasting more time and simply leave it here. So, Peter, how do you wish to proceed? On his way home, the phrases of his new personality are burned into his head. Calming thought patterns. Express vulnerability. Speak with absolute honesty. And when he comes home, his roommate, Veronica, is watching TV.
Hey, Peter! Gosh, did you hear about that Magnus Nilsson guy, the boxer, fighter? Did you hear about the thing with the machine?
Magnus Nilsson's face is on TV. A previously recorded interview with the TV volume on too high.
Yeah. I thought he died. Or maybe that was someone else. Didn't he hit his head or something? Oh, you know Katrina? She was at Daniel's party. Her sister actually went to one, and she's so different now. She was a complete shut-in, and now she's like a different person, wearing makeup, high heels, and parties like crazy. You wouldn't believe it. Wow, yeah. And oh my god, did you hear about Daniel's brother? He wanted to be just like Magnus Nilsson and hit his head. It didn't go well.
Seemingly, there's not a quiet moment without Magnus Nilsson involved. But surprisingly, things are not hysterical. Something insane has happened, and it's not worth screaming about.
But you know what she told me? Her other friend, she went to one to quit smoking, and it actually worked. Maybe you should try it sometime, if you could ever afford to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
There aren't any words that feel necessary to blurt out. No over-exaggeration, no expletives. Nothing more needs to be said. The conversation doesn't need to go on. No anxiety to keep speaking. Calming thought patterns.
Did you ever watch Magnus Nilsson? Did you ever watch him fight?
Yeah, I actually did, yeah.
So he hit his head, quit fighting, became a scientist, and invented a machine. That is so crazy. It's like something from a movie.
Veronica is waiting for Peter to keep talking and continue the conversation as usual, but Peter's silence keeps catching her off guard. Over and over again, nothing happens.
Hey, what's wrong? Did something happen?
Absolute honesty. I actually had something done.
You don't mean...
Well, I went to take care of my smoking.
Oh, that's great. Oh, you won't be stinking up the place anymore. And you know, that's a lot of money, but that's also a lot of money we'll save in the long run. Tell me about it. What was it like?
Well, basically, I just slept for a while and then I woke up.
Was it more than smoking?
Yeah.
So do you feel like a different person now?
I guess so. Different person. Veronica is looking at Peter, expecting an elaborate response, but for once he is not oversharing, not speaking out of turn, or talking over or saying what's on his mind. And she is in awe of this moment. Simply silence.
Are you alright?
I'm fine, just a bit tired. But the silence continues on, and the atmosphere turns sour. Veronica keeps looking at Peter, and there is an unnerved look on her face.
Why did you want to change?
Something happened with the procedure, and I thought I might as well take a chance. I'm always so annoying around everyone, and the smoking, and absolute honesty. I guess I wanted it reversed, but I also just couldn't help but think that if I stay like this, maybe some people would like me better. Absolute honesty. I mean, there was stuff I wanted to tell you, but I was afraid of how you'd feel about it. And, I really like you. Veronica's face is twisted, grimaced. She wants to explain herself, but she is looking at Peter as if she suddenly has no clue who she is speaking to. Someone bearing the mask of someone she once knew. The words that come out instead simply express her shock. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm just really unused to... Sorry, Peter, but this is a lot to put on me. I never asked you to do this. Veronica puts on her jacket. I need some time. And Peter sits there for a while, all alone, until he decides to have a goddamn cigarette. Standing outside, Peter lights up a cigarette and inhales the smoke. But then he does something he has never done before. He stops for a moment. He feels the smoke in his lungs. He tastes the cigarette. And he finds that cigarettes taste like shit. He can't believe how disgusting it tastes. He throws his pack in the trash. He wants to punish the cigarettes for how awful they are. But even as he rids himself of them, disgust remains. Allow me to understand this correctly. You do not only want the calming thought patterns expressing vulnerability and absolute honesty to disappear. You also wish to reverse your smoking habit. Yes. Why? It's not who I am. Peter, you need to take some time to rest. I want the procedure undone right now. We're not going to have a procedure for you to turn into a smoker. No, I don't care. I don't care. I'll pay you for it. Please, give yourself a few days. I don't have a few days. I want to be myself. I need to be who I really am. I want this undone to me right now, or I'll sue you. I'll get the procedure undone and take all of your MMA money. And I'll have lawyers and scientists, real scientists, go through all of your machines and make sure anyone is able to do this. Out there for everyone. Whether he takes Peter's threats seriously is doubtful, but as he looks into Peter's eyes, for 1 second he sees something. Sincerity. For 1 moment. Peter, you're familiar with who I am, yes? Yeah, of course. What happened?
You took a hit, a bad fall, and it was all over the news. I remembered some people saying you would be handicapped for life from the brain damage. What are you trying to say, that this machine fixed that?
No, of course not. What I'm saying is that the media blew it out of proportion. I've taken harder hits. The blood simply added to the theatrics. But it was a moment, so I took advantage of it. I retired. Do you remember what the media said next?
Years later, people were saying you'd become a scientist all of a sudden. That the head trauma somehow made you a genius, and you got degrees and invented the machine.
I have always been interested in science, engineering, biology, neurology, but no one ever took me seriously. A serious discussion about neurology with a professional MMA fighter. Or how about a former champion with brain damage pursuing the field? Absolutely ridiculous. But then I made the machine, and the story became Magnus Nilsson takes hits to the head and becomes a mastermind. A groundbreaking scientist and an inventor. It's a very attractive story. Something that some people have emulated with horrible results. But nonetheless, something that most could never possibly afford. Do you know what the harshest criticism I get is? Why would anyone ever pay to change their personality? It's something you can do on your own. It's what most people believe too. We've done the analytics. Most people believe they could change their own personality through sheer will without the machine. But why doesn't it happen then? How many do you know, Peter, who, before my invention, suddenly completely changed who they were? Introvert to extrovert, ashamed to shameless, apathetic to empathetic.
What are you trying to tell me? That this is all a scam?
What I'm saying, Peter, is that this is real science. And if it were the case that the science suggested that all you really needed to change was a story, would it matter?
Of course it would. I'm not sure I follow, but... No, what are you saying?
It would be quite the surprise for most to hear, but what most people would consider to be their personality is more along the lines of a self-defense mechanism. The apathetic who must cover their feelings so they are not made a fool. The anxious, afraid that the simplest mistake would mean regret. The over-caring, putting others before themselves, afraid that no one else might do the same for them. The overjoyous, afraid that anyone might find their company distasteful without putting on a show. And the gluttons, overindulging in their worst habits, all for the fantasy of not being alone. Of course, it's difficult to reverse addictions. Smoking is a physical habit. It's not as simple as a quick change of mind telling someone to quit. We don't expect these cases to work. However, observation, taste, feeling, pause, the moment, that is the very foundation for change.
Peter looks to Magnus cautiously, trying to fully understand the implications of his words, while weighing the question that maybe Magnus Nilsson's brain damage was more severe than anyone had realized.
But I am not a cynic, Peter. People want honesty, but they are too quick to judge what that is. The pause gives the possibility to reflect, but it's not as simple as who you are and who you are not. Everyone have everything inside of them. Introvert and extrovert, shameless and ashamed, apathetic and empathetic. The personality machine is a service to provide a guide to these traits.
What a pile of crap! I mean, come on, you're just telling me this whole thing is a scam for money? Why? You're telling people lies and taking all they have? This is all garbage. It's not real. And if any of this were true, people would know. It would be obvious. There are things you can't just change about yourself. And if anyone could, then people really would be changing all the time.
No. There is an overbearing shame that comes with change. Didn't you feel it, Peter? The thought that kept you unable to change without the machine. What would other people think? What would people think if you suddenly changed? It's the only reason someone would come here. Because even a positive change, quitting smoking, it terrified you, didn't it? Your parents, your coworkers, your friends. What would every single person you know think of a different you? How do you give the appropriate answer to what betrays their expectations of you, to what you have become? And what I'm selling is the answer. The very moment, the same gift that I was given. A scientific invention, a journey through a machine, and as a cherry on top, a personal meeting with the great Magnus Nilsson himself. An opportunity to explain everything to yourself, your friends, your family, to anyone. The undoing of your very own self-defense mechanism. A story.
A silent pause. I'm not sure I'm following. You're not making any of sense. None of that could be true.
Then perhaps it isn't. It's up to you, Peter. I'm telling you all of this because, as you may now understand, no one else has been able to replicate what I have done. Not because it's impossible to replicate the machinery of a personality machine, but because they always look towards the physical structure of what a machine is supposed to be. This has been the undoing of your procedure. But as you may have come to find, it might not have been in your best interest.
Magnus slides a piece of paper across the desk.
So, Peter, how do you wish to proceed?
Peter is sitting at his dinner table, eating breakfast with Veronica. So you're saying, after all that, after everything you went through, these traits you got, they didn't take? But then you managed to quit smoking anyway without the machine? What do you mean? And Peter thinks for a moment. I was heading home from meeting Magnus Nilsson again. And as I was about to smoke, I saw Crow pick up a cigarette butt and eat it. And I thought, man, I don't want to be like that. So I threw away my cigarettes. And Veronica laughs. Really, after all these years and all that, this is what makes you quit? Is that really what happened? Well, do you really want to know? Either way, it still feels real to me.